Hello everybody, welcome to the Offensive Penetration Testing course, an introduction to pen testing. My name is Alejandro Guinea and I'll be your instructor for today's lesson. Hello everybody and welcome to the episode number 5, Bash Shell. The learning objectives of this session is to understand some well-known Bash commands, create and understand some Bash scripts, and be able to create your own scripts to be used in your penetration testing process. So let's get started. Okay, so let me clear here. Well, you can run bash script from the terminal or by actually executing a bash file. For example, the most basic command is the echo command, which will just print whatever you pass it to, to the actual command. So, for example, hello, library world. And nothing fancy here, just to actually print that. Let's create that in a bash file or bash script. First, we'll use the nano text editor. You can use any other editor like Vim, but we'll use nano for these sessions. So basically, the basic command is to, let me just remove and create it. Again, nothing. The command, the file doesn't exist. The bash file, I mean, and so we'll create it with nano. And we'll tell them that whatever is in this file, it will be executed with the bash. And just echo and hello library, and we exit, we save it, and we will use now chmod to assign permissions. Chmod is a command that's uses symbolic permissions to assign it to the user, which we're using right now. As you can see, it's root, but you can be using any other user, to the group itself, and any other command, user, process, daemon, whatever is running in your Kali environment. So three set of permissions: for your user, for the group, and for any other entity or command, or user or process or daemon being executed in your Kali environment. And you can use 3 different numbers to assign different permissions. For example, if you use the number 4, you will be assigning read permissions. If you use the number 2, you will be assigning write permissions. And if you use the number 1, you will be assigning execute permissions. But what happens if you want to assign all of them? Well, you can just perform an addition, and 4 plus 2 plus 1, and will be 7, and you will be assigning all the permissions. So, for example, for this specific, let me just show it to you here, library. It doesn't have execute permissions or any other permissions at all. But what happens if I want to assign execute permissions to all of the users, or I want to assign all the permissions to all the users, all the groups, and any other process or application or user being executed in your Kali environment? Well, I can simply just type chmod 777. Remember, the first one is for the user, the second one is for the group, and the third one is for any other process or daemon or user in the Kali environment. So in this case, this bash script will, everybody will have read, write, and execute permissions over this library script. And if we type ls again, as you can see, it is now green, indicating that it can be executed. So just execute it right now, and it will just print hello library as we just input a simple echo command. So let's see, how can introduce loops in this bash script. First of all, let's start with the most simple loop, I guess, which is let me just erase that here, which is the while loop. For example, let's just start the variable n, which is equals to 1, and then we can just type while. We open this. The variable n is the length equals 5, or the length is 5, we just do here, I'm sorry, and just type echo library n times, and we just another and just increment that by 1 equals n plus 1, and we're done. We exit, we save, and since it already has execute permissions by anybody, we type it and we run it, and as you can see, 5 times. Nothing fancy here. Let's see how can this be done by the for loop. Let me just erase everything in here, and for open parenthesis, counter is equals 5. Counter is greater than 0, and counter my dash dash. We close the parenthesis. We do something here, which is in this case is print the number. And we're done. And just print F so we can leave a space in between. Okay, let's execute it, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Let's see. Well, that's 2 ways you can use loops in a bash script. You can actually use any other loops, or maybe you can actually, I don't know, use a combination of both, or a loop in other loops to create any other task you may want. But let's see if we can actually get an input from the command line, from the terminal. So let me just again here and eliminate all of this, and let's start with the simple echo. Oh, sorry. Enter your name, and we receive name, and echo welcome. We up another set of parentheses, and here we type name and to the library class. We save it and we run it. Enter your name. Welcome Alejandro to the library class. As simple as that. You can also use, let me just eliminate this. You can also use if statements, or you can actually use if statement and combine it with an AND logic or OR logic. I'm sorry. Let me just give you a simple example. Again, we'll be reading a username. Read name. I'm sorry, username. Enter password. Read password. And if, let's start the if statement here. I'm sorry. Let me just copy that because it's a little bit lengthy. So in this case, if username is equals admin and password is equals secret, then valid user, otherwise invalid user. So let me save here, execute it, enter admin, secret, then valid users. If I put something else, invalid user. So as you can see, you can use an if statement while getting input from the terminal. So it's as simple as that. You can apply the same logic while using the OR statement, or you can also use case statements just like any other programming language. I mean, if maybe you don't want to use several ifs, so you want to use a case statement, you can also do that on the bash script. Bash script can read command line arguments like any other programming language. Let me just give you another example here. How can we do that? I mean, other than just type in read. Let me just give you an example of that. Echo total arguments. And we read the number of arguments being passed. Echo first argument is equals number 1, which will be the first argument. Echo, just to give you an example, second argument equals to the second argument, and as simple as that. We save it, we execute it, and I didn't pass any arguments, so 0 arguments. But for example, Alejandro, yeah, and 2 arguments, as simple as that. As you can see, this is a really powerful tool you can use. I mean, I get that you can use any other tools to perform your task, but you can also, use other tools inside of a bash script. Let me just give you an example, a really useful example. I mean, this might be short, but you can introduce any other tools or arguments you want. I'm sorry. Let me just erase that here. And let's start it. If. So first of all, I would like to know if the user is actually typing any input. If it's not, we'll show an exception. Not an exception, but a message. If the input or the length of the input is actually 0, so I will actually print the message, just then. Echo, you error. So you have to enter a valid SSH server, and it will exit. Otherwise, echo. The DNS being used by the server is, and we execute the command. Remember that we saw the command. Remember that we saw earlier in the course that we can actually pass any specific command or tell SSH not to log in specifically, but to actually log in, get the command, and just show us the output of that command. So I will log into the SSH server that the user wants and type ipconfig -all, and then grab that output to a DNS and close the if. Let's see what happens. SSH error. You have to enter a valid SSH server. Okay, I didn't enter, so let's just enter the IP of my Windows server. And since SSH needs a password, I just will type the password here. Oh, there you have it. DNS suffix, connection specific DNS suffix, and DNS server. As I'm using a virtualized environment, the DNS is the hypervisor, but in this case, in other case, you might want to type any other command, or maybe you will just want to connect to any specific machine. I don't know. As you can see, you can do whatever you want in a bash script, because you have the capability of doing that, and maybe you just want the IP, so you can use tools like AWK or SEED or SED, any other tool to actually grab this output and put it in a more useful way, or any other command. Actually, you just want to log in, or you can imagine. Just let your imagination fly. But yeah, if you don't want to pass a password itself, or you want to pass it on the script, you can use tools like SSH pass. I didn't use it here because I just wanted to show you a really simple example, but you can use SSH pass to pass the password through the command line, and you don't want to, type it and you do any other manual stuff. You can just, use that tool. What is Nano? Well, Nano is a text editor you can use. You can use Vim or any other text editor you may want, but Nano is one of them. What task is performed by the chmod 777 and the file command? Well, remember that we talked about it. Chmod is a tool or a command you can use to assign permissions to a specific file. 777 is just the addition, 4 plus 2 plus 1. 4 means that you're given read permissions. 2 means it means that you're given write permissions, and 1 means that you're given execute permissions. So the addition of these 3 permissions gives you 7. And the first 7 is for the user, the second 7 is for the group, and the third 7 is for any other process application user being, that is actually in your Kali or in your Linux environment. Can you actually use loops and if statement in a bash script? Yeah, actually bash is, when you're programming in bash, you can use several of the other logic or any other commands that you can use in any other programming language like Python, Perl, Java, C++, or whatever. But yeah, you can use that. In this video, we saw the basic task you can perform with the bash commands and bash scripts. We also saw how to use the power of the bash script in your penetration testing process. I mean, you can use any other commands. We saw the example with the SSH command, but you can use any other command that you want. Maybe wget to download any specific file. I don't know. Let your imagination fly, because at the end, that's what penetration testing is all about. Supplementary materials, again, over the wire war games. You will see this a lot because when you're starting your penetration testing path or your career, you have to be very familiar with the basic commands you can execute in your Linux environment. I mean, I will do my best to show you the most used ones or the most common ones, but believe me, there's tons of other commands you can actually execute or use in your penetration testing world. Looking forward, in the next video, we'll see some scenarios implementing several techniques that we have covered so far, like bash scripts, and Linux services, Linux commands. We'll see a combination of them, and we'll see how can we actually use that in a penetration testing process. Well, that's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you soon.